Okay, welcome back everyone. It's been quite a while since I've done a video, and that's because I've been extremely busy studying and life stuff. So, welcome back. I'm going to try to get the ball rolling again on here because we're lagging off. Not getting as many views, and it seems like people are more interested in gaming videos. So, but anyways, right now I'm doing a quick technical video because I'm finishing Tales of Suburbia right now, and it's almost done, and I'm debugging it. I'm playing it through to make sure it works the way it's supposed to, and aka and debugging at the same time. And I ran into something, and this has been mentioned before by other viewers. Um, so I want to bring this to your attention. We're going to start with line one, okay? And I'm going to say for, uh, who knows, math, I don't know why, equals 1, 2, 9. Okay? And then we're going to perform some function. I'm just going to have to make something up here. We'll do. We'll do. Um, Before I do that, CLS. No, we're doing CLSs here. HCLS. All right. I'm using the Color Computer 3, and let me just RG. Let's do the palette first. PALETTE R RGB, so I can get with this here. And we're gonna do a CLS routine, and I'm so unfamiliar with this computer. I focused mainly on the one and two until recently, so forgive me here. But we're gonna do a CLS routine, CLS math, and it's just going to take us through the for next loop, and boom 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 it goes through. Okay, but we're hitting Microware Systems Corporation, so I have a feeling that CLS 9 is not a function, CLS 8 is, CLS 0, CLS 1, CLS 0. There's no CLS 0. Usually it's black. I don't know why that's not coming up as black. I'm in 80 column mode. I don't think that's the problem. So we're going to get rid of, we're just going to go 1 to 8. Now, like I said, I'm still unfamiliar with a lot of functions on this computer, but we're supposed to be having 16 colors on the screen and all this other stuff. I don't know if that applies to the CLS function. I don't know if I can change these colors, but that isn't what the video is about. I'm gonna have to look into that. Um, Lord, I set myself up here, but we're just using this the same. If we run this, it just goes through all the colors from 1 to 8. I don't know why there isn't a black here. It's nice to see that there's no bar running through everything, and that's because they cleaned up their text screen mode. And again, I am just digressing because I don't have a manual for this, and it's kind of hard to remember everything from an e-text. I might have to go on Amazon or eBay or somewhere on the internet and see if I can find a manual for this. Because it's easier to refer to a manual while I'm doing these videos and trying to navigate an e-text with only one screen. So what I need to do here is put 4 pause equals 1 to, like, 500 next, and then 4 next, and this will give us time to see the colors: green, yellow, blue, red, white. I forgot what those colors are called. This computer, I'll tell you, it's white, cayenne, magenta, and orange. But you can't really tell the difference between red, which is now, and orange, which comes last, but it's a little darker. Anyway, the point of this is that uh, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put if math equals what am I going to do here? If math equals 8, then sound 255 comma 5. Let's run this. And if you notice, we don't get a sound. Let's print math and see what the number is. 9. Now, why is that? Well, we said for math equals 1 to 8, so we went through 8 stages. However, we start with 1, we go next math, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it stops. But it adds 1. And this is where my program wasn't working right, because I was reading a data statement, and I was calling it read DA for data, or read data. You can call it whatever you want, but I was calling it read data or read DA. It could be data. I don't know if you could use data. Sometimes there's conflicts. Let's just say read math. Well, whatever. Call it whatever you want. And then what was happening was I had a variable in there which said if, this is less than 8, then do this, and that wasn't happening. And then I said, well, what does math equal? And it equaled 9. And so what you have to do here, and I'm sure if Curtis is watching, he'll know, and hopefully say something, because I think he was the one that brought this up. I haven't heard from Curtis in months. I haven't even seen the show in months, because I haven't been uploading anything really. I think the last thing they covered was the release of Ulysses. But it would be nice to hear from someone. But that's okay. So what you have to do here is clear math equals 0. So after we go through our routine, it'll clear the palette, and we can change line 5 to 0, for instance. And now, after we're done going through the colors, we get the sound, and I don't know why you can barely hear it. Maybe my volume is just turned down low. Sound 255.5. So, yeah. And if we poke this for the speed poke, it increases the, it shortens the wavelength, and it sounds, and I forgot what the poke is, but Uh, it would increase the pitch because it shortens the wavelength, and but so that's it. I just wanted to get this point across here, um, because if you're right, I run into conflicts all the time, and you have to narrow down what the conflict is really about here. And then if you do that, then you can finish your program. Um, let's do this one more time with a lower pitch. So there you go. Okay, and that's it. So I just wanted to make this point here, um, and I think it's a good point to make. And I've heard it said that it adds one to it unless you clear it or make it set it equal to something else somewhere else in the program. Watch out for these conflicts. I don't know why it adds one like that. I'm not sure. I've ran into some weird problems with this computer. Really weird problems. I don't know why. Um, I was doing subscripted variables and it was giving me all sorts of errors. I don't know what I was working on, but this computer can be testy, to say the least. But I'm looking forward to doing some deeper research into the graphics capabilities of this one and hopefully getting some material out on it because it's pretty powerful. Even though we're talking about a computer that came out in 1990, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the 1 and 2 was even before that. I think the TRS-80 started in the late 70s. And then, the models changed until the 1 and 2 came out in the mid 80s and mid to late 80s, whatever. I don't know. I'm not really a historian on this. Um, But it's still fun to play around with, and for people that are, I'm gonna do a hard reset, and as you can see, we have copyright 1982. This is disk extended, 1982. Then again in 1986, Microware. I'm not sure who they are, but Microsoft was a big player. And then I guess they partnered with someone else and tried to do, their own language, but they really didn't go farther than that. Um, if you look at the Commodore, etc., they all have their own language. So when we get to these post-dated periods, um, nothing was interchangeable. If you had a Commodore, however you spell it, Commodore 64. It was compatible with the Amiga, but that was because it was its own brand, PET, etc. But when you got into the Atari computer and they were all independent languages, and there was no compatibility between the two unless they were cousins or whatever, like you get with the Tandys and so on. So, in the modern day, you either have Apple or you have Microsoft, and that's it. And those two are limited compatibility between the two, but not. I don't think there's very much. People don't really realize that. Back in the day, there was no compatibility at all. You couldn't stick a Commodore disk in a color computer, vice versa, or the Atari and whatever else they had, the Spectrum and so on. They were all independent, different languages, and that all phased out. And we just have Windows and Apple these days, and that's it. And nobody really realizes about these compatibility issues in the past. So, but anyways, I am going to cut this off. And thank you for watching. Comments are welcome. I always read them. I try to respond, but I can't always respond. But if you have any questions, let me know. And I look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Thank you. Take care. Bye.